shoot. Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Filming inside today. The April showers have arrived slightly early here in the UK, so we have rain, 10 minutes, stops, 10 minutes, rains, 10 minutes, stops, 10 minutes. Yeah, it's a pain to be outside, it's a pain to film in, so I've come inside so I can film here today so we can look at these utility style knives. Now there's a bit of a preface before this, mainly because of the way that utility knives are being used a little bit more in EDC. So a lot of people out there have their daily driver, the knife that they use all the time. This one here is the SOG Terminus XR. It's absolutely stunning. I haven't reviewed this yet, but trust me, there will be a review coming. And there's a lot of people spending a lot of money on some very nice knives. And people, they use the knives, but they just don't want to get them dirty. And that makes sense, it makes complete sense. So what a lot of people are turning to are companion knives or utility knives, so that you've got one that does a lot of tasks, but you like to keep it new-ish. And then the other one really is for that all that down and dirty kind of stuff. So my sister-in-law, I put something on Amazon and just on a whim, and my sister-in-law bought me this for my birthday, and this is the Slice Mini Cutter. So it is a safety utility style cutter with an extendable blade that pops out, and you know it automatically retracts in. And this company was completely new to me. It really was on a whim. They're called Slice, which is a very clever name for this type of tool. But in a weird way, it's almost an oxymoron in the fact these are very safe utility knives. So I got in touch with them because I really did think that this was great. I looked at a lot of their other products and they've sent me some others. They sent me the EDC folding knife, and they sent me the utility folding knife. So we'll have a look at these. In fact, we'll have a look at all three in a second. I'll turn the camera around. Whilst I'm doing that, actually before I do that, it's probably important to point out these were sent to me to do these reviews. I'm allowed to keep them afterwards, but that holds no sway on the outcome of my interview. There will be some links in the description below. You can choose to use those links to get these products. I'll give you a code at the end that you can use, that you can get 10% off all of these products as well, and all of the other products that you'll find on the website. But for now, what I'll do is I'll turn the camera around so that we can get a more of an in-depth look at these really cool cutting tools. Now at this point, it's probably useful to point out, you know, these are not the only three products that Slice make. When I got in touch with them about this and talking about companion knives and utility knives that are used to complement a more expensive knife, these were the two that they thought would be useful. You know, they do knives that are more like utility knives that you might use in a warehouse. They do knives that are specifically designed for arts and crafts, and some for needlework and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot more on there, but you know, these ones we're just talking about today. So this was the first one that I got. This is completely made from plastic, apart from a little metal spring inside that pings that back in. These two are made, these are all metal construction. It feels, I've seen on the website, so it says that they're made from aluminium and steel. Now, on the outside, this bit in the knife world, you know, we call this the scale. The scales of both of these feel like they're aluminium, whereas the actual internals, all of these, it feels like these are made from steel. These are absolutely robust. There's no give in them whatsoever. All of the blades that these use, and this really is where the safety comes in, these are all ceramic blades. Now if this was a normal utility blade, to scratch this on my, I'd cut my fingers to shreds, but instead it doesn't, because of the way, one, the ceramic blade is incredibly sharp, but also it's the geometry of the actual cutting edge itself. And just to show you this, I mean this is you know, extremely simplified, but a normal cutting edge would be something like that on a utility blade, whereas the way that these work is instead you have a higher angle coming in, and then as you come down you then have a finer secondary bevel. Because of the ceramics that they're made from, this secondary bevel is allowed to become extra sharp, but when you put pressure down on it, it just doesn't cut you. You need to supply sufficient pressure and a pulling force for it then to be able to cut. So here we've got two size blades. There is this smaller blade, which is exactly the same blade as the one that's in here. If it does get dull, which it does take some time. As I say, you know, I've had these for about 3 months now. This one has been used a lot more for cutting, and this one hasn't dulled whatsoever. As far as the website's concerned, it says that these can last up to 11 times longer than normal steel blades. But one of the advantages that you get with ceramic blades, the way this is, sorry, I just find this quite funny because I can see myself in the camera there, and I feel like one of those guys at like a market going, "Step right up, you're a darling. This will cut your bed faster than you can say. How's your?" Yeah, you know what I mean. So, because they're ceramic blades, they're not oil coated. There's no coating or anything like that on them. They're also, I mean, they're ceramic. You can't get any conductive electricity through these. If you were to hit something with these, you wouldn't be able to get a spark from them. They're all chemically inert, so if you have to work with any sort of chemicals, it's not going to degrade it, and you know they'll start to fall apart. Because of that, you know, they'll never rust. They're also not magnetic. And there's less maintenance with them. To be able to change these, they're all toolless changes. There's a button here on the side. That is the utility folder. Here on the EDC folder, there's another little pin there, and that pops it out. This is the mini slicer. Now the mini slicer is slightly different because this is the all plastic. Some people might not be happy that it's not accessible to left-handed people, but instead what you can do is there's a small little lock in the side. You put your thumb in or your nail into it and it opens up. So here this allows you then to be able to swap the knife round or the blade round if it has become dulled, but also hopefully be able to see that you've got an R and an L there. So to change it to left-handed operation, you just put that in, put the front on, and then it snaps and you close it up. So for your left-handers, these are really great. I have used this quite a lot, but I generally tend to use this one a lot more purely because of that fidget factor that you get with it. This mini slicer is super light. If you are concerned about weight, this comes in at about 10 grams. The cutting distance for it, so however the depth is from the plastic part here to the end of the blade itself is about 9mm, and it roughly measures 62mm by 37mm, and it's about 12mm deep. Actually really quite nice actually. The EDC folding knife, this again, as I already mentioned, you know, it's an all metal construction, and to open it, that is so satisfying. That sounded a bit dodgy. And then you've got a frame lock in here, so when you want to close it, you just close it tight. Very similar because it uses the same blade, but with this one it just protrudes out a little bit longer, so you've got a 10mm cutting depth if you wanted to. There are some other ones on there that I saw, like little ones that you can put on your finger that you just pull along, and instead it's just got a millimetre or so. I'm kind of going off on tangents, but one of the things to also notice is that the cutting edge here is rounded. You can get extra safety ones, that's probably not the term that they use, but that's the term that I'm using here, or you can get ones that have that traditional that do come to a point. So the EDC folding knife, as I mentioned, you know, it folds, it flips out, there's a hole that you can put a lanyard on there if you want to. Comes in at 54 grams. It's got a depth of 10mm when you're cutting. When it's open like this, it's 100mm by 26mm by 12. When you close it with a little lock that's in there, then the overall length comes in at 70mm once closed. The larger one of the two, which is the utility folding knife here, as I mentioned, you know, this has become my desk cutter. All those boxes that I get in on a daily basis, You know, I've just ploughed through with this monster. This again, all metal construction, aluminium on the outside. I'm guessing this aluminium, it does feel like aluminium. And then all of this is steel through here. There is a nice spring on the back, and hopefully again you'll have noticed that it has this eye here. So if you want to be able to put some pressure down and not have your hands slide down, you can do that with this knife. When it's to close it, it does lock open, so you have a button here that closes it, and you'll see that there is a half detent on the way round. Again, I suppose you could use that at different angles if you choose to, but then it will fold all the way around. This is a beast. This has got a nice weight to it as well. This comes in at 168 grams. When it's fully closed like this, it measures 110 millimeters by 33 millimeters by 21 millimeters, and when it's opened, then it comes in for the full length of the actual the actual knife itself. If you would take the blade out, it's 191 millimeters with the blade in. Oh, just push that back in. There is a small detent here on the side as well that just makes sure that that knife locks into place. There is a little give in it, but to be fair, you know, I've never found a utility knife that doesn't have a little bit of play in the knife in there. It's the nature of the blades when they are put into these. But again, you know, you can put a lot of pressure down on there. All of these knives are, as I mentioned, you know, although these two are slightly, oh, got that wrong way around. Although these two are slightly smaller, it still uses the same cutting edge. So if I was to take, you know, get lots of this type of plastic in, it just, you know, it just turns it to ribbons. You don't have to apply that much pressure. Now, I will add, you do have to apply a little bit more pressure. So with your standard knife, when you put it down automatically, because it's got that very acute angle, to be able to push into it straight away, you get that cut. With these, I tend to find that you just have to apply, and then once you get the cut, it just continues with that. Part of that is this extra safe end, because you really do need to apply a little bit more pressure. I've not tested out the edges that come to an exact point, but I'm probably find that, you know, they'll cut just as easily. So cardboard, your typical Amazon packages, you know, it just slices straight through these, not really having to apply that much pressure. I've turned that left-handed, than you would do, oh, that's gone through, as you can see, that you would do with a normal knife. Although, I've just gone back on myself, you do have to apply a slight little bit more pressure, but it still cuts through exactly what you'd expect with a knife. Now, I've just left this out of shot, damn it. So, hey, will it cut? Yes. You know, this is a bit of old pine, and it, you know, it's cutting with no issues whatsoever. Just the issue of the fact that I'm not very good at cutting or whittling, but you know, it's great. If you find that it does start to dull a bit, take it out, swap it around, put it back in again, and there you go. Now, what you will find is something to note. Because of, I don't know whether it's a manufacturing process, there is a little bit more of a premium price with the blades. The blades themselves, because of the ceramics that are used in here, the blades do last longer. I'll try and see if I can put some of these details up on the screen now. So you will find that they'll last longer than a normal steel blade. But for a pack of 3, I think it was either $21 for a pack of 3 of these knives. So you need to work out how that works as far as your budget's concerned, but you know, I think for the price these are actually really good for the way in which I use them. I'm a moderate user because this is it's a companion knife that I use when I need to use it. But that's definitely one thing to point out. If there's one thing that I'd love these two to have babies. I'd like this with that blade. If there was a way, obviously it would need to be quite a bit bigger, but that in there would be absolutely amazing. Just a little bit bigger version of that, but brilliant products. Now, having used these consistently for the past 2 or 3 months, I can definitely say these are great. They really are great. The EDC folding knife has become my daily driver for that utility knife that I've kept in my pocket. It used to be the Leatherman style, which I do all of the, you know, the dirty things with, but oh, the flip factor, the fidget factor on this one is great. It cuts, it fits in the pocket perfectly, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. The larger utility folding knife has become my desk driver, so over the last 2 or 3 months I've just had a lot of stuff in here at Moorlander Towers. So every single time a new product comes in, there's packaging, there's, oh no, you know, a lot of packaging to get through. And this has been on my desk through all that time. It's done all of the cutting. I've not even had to change the blade around, only for when, you know, I've been testing it out and stuff. It's not dulled at all. And again, it does exactly what it says on the tin. So this really was a thing for me that I reached out to Slice and asked if they could send me these. I wasn't sure whether I was going to like them or not. I really did like this, but do you know what? These are great products, and I don't usually give out like a stamp of approval kind of thing, and that's usually not my thing, but you know, if I did, then these would definitely get that. And I really do think you should, yeah, check out the website. What Slice have done is they've also given me a discount code that you can use if you choose to. There is a US site and there is a UK site, so depending on which one you go to, you'll see the links in the description below. If you're at the US site, if you use the code MOOREDC10, you'll get 10% discount off, you know, all of the different things that you want to purchase from there. If you're here in the UK, if you use MOOREDC10 UK, then you'll be able to get 10% discount off everything in your basket as well. A massive thank out, I do this all the time, a massive thank you and a massive shout out to Slice for sending me these products and just being really nice people. They genuinely were really nice. I got in touch with them, super helpful, and more than happy to send them out to me. So yeah, I appreciate that as well. Cool. You know, there's always those links in the description below. You'll be able to see some of my links in the description below. Moorlander_EDC if you want to follow me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well, but I tend to be on Instagram a little bit more. If you've liked this content, mash that like button. You know you want to. Let's hit that like. If you want to subscribe so that you can see new content as it comes live, hit the subscribe button and notification. Share my content, that would be awesome as well. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC.